off my house, warns the sign. These historic dwellings in the old part of Istanbul are still standing, but for how long? The residents are worried, to say the least.
These days there's a conflict of interest between development and preserving the cultural legacy, but we want to show that they are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Korhan Gumus is an architect. He's also involved with Istanbul's year as a European Capital of Culture 2010. His involvement with the legacy of historic sites dates back 30 years. He's also a well-known civic campaigner.
Our cultural heritage should not prohibit development. On the contrary, we need to replicate it to ensure sustainable development.
As a veteran of the wars of cultural preservation, Gumus is not surprised that Istanbul is currently at risk of losing its 25-year status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The situation hasn't come about overnight. Campaigners angry at the widespread building work, particularly in the Old Town, began rolling up their sleeves back in 2008.
There is something which can't be evaluated with money, and that is cultural heritage. And symbolically, Istanbul being dropped out of the list would be a disaster, in a way. Because many people will exploit this, and no one will like it, and to start with UNESCO. And so I think it's an uphill battle.
October is when the UN has told Turkey to produce a report on the environmental impact of its development work. Otherwise, it will lose its World Heritage status and go on the endangered list. The restoration of Fener and Balat is a prime project.
Instead of restoring these valuable examples of Istanbul lifestyle houses, now municipality of Istanbul is developing projects of creating some Ottoman neighborhoods, seemingly wooden but beton houses.
This is our responsibility to show them scientifically. This is wrong, so we want to stop them.
A pilot project backed by UNESCO and the EU got underway here 6 years ago. 10 million euros was invested to allow the owners to restore their homes to their former glory. But the plan didn't turn out as expected. Many blame the AK party-run city council, which they accuse of taking over the initiative. Once in charge, the authority began its own restoration project. Architects have accused Istanbul's city hall of presiding over the Disneyfication of a once vibrant Ottoman neighborhood. But local mayor Mustafa Demir says the work carried out was necessary and appropriate.
Sites which conform to the building regulations will naturally stay in place and be restored, but the others will be demolished. Under the new plan, we'll build many more suitable houses and businesses.
In some cases, however, owners have been forced to sell their property at way below the market value to avoid compulsory seizure by the authorities.
What we're really trying to do is to prolong the life of these historic dwellings. You can see for yourself what state some of them are in. Some have been abandoned, others have squatters in them due to rows over rent and tenancies. We want to preserve these houses along with all historic buildings.
The city's plans for urban development have also come in for criticism. UNESCO's already voiced disapproval about this suspension bridge being built across the Golden Horn because its masts will obstruct the famous silhouette of the Süleymaniye Mosque. The Marmara rail tunnel also has its critics. The 1,600-metre-long excavation under the Bosphorus will link Europe with Asia from 2013. And there's uncertainty over the future of the old city walls. Parts have been restored in a haphazard revamp, in contrast to other major renovations. But, as well as words, there is action. Aysegul Kaya is 46. Last year, she decided to give up her career as a lawyer to concentrate on full-time painting. She's become the spokesperson for the residents here in Fener and Balat. The plight of the families facing eviction has convinced her to redon her wig and gown.
This project is dreadful. They want to erase the memory of the city, the people who live here, and the legacy of their culture. There are traces of many different cultures and religions here, and we must preserve them.
Kalıntılarının olduğu, en azından var olanı korumak zorunda olduğumuz bir bölge olduğuna inanıyorum.
Istanbul's ancient heritage is constantly being uncovered. These are Byzantine and Roman remains, which the council must wish had stayed buried, as their presence interferes with their construction plans.
Bu bölge çok uzun yıllardır.
This neighborhood has been neglected for a long time, and there are those who wanted it to stay that way. We have never had the benefit of local services. People here are described as criminals who trash their own homes. They make up stories to justify flattening the area and getting their hands on the land. It's all a big lie.
Hikmet Yelkanat owns one of the oldest wooden houses in the area, dating from the end of the 19th century. She finds it impossible to imagine that one day it might be seized by officials.
I don't think that will happen, because we all have their property deeds. No, that's not going to happen. No one can force us to leave, and in any case, when I die, my children will be there to stop it.
At the age of 82, Aragoulet is an acclaimed photographer. He's immortalised the likes of Pablo Picasso and Jacques Prévert. The image is published in magazines like Time and Paris Match. He's the living embodiment of Istanbul and doesn't mince his words.
The place we call Istanbul no longer exists. It's been gone for a long time, but we've only just realised it, because we're still looking. Which Istanbul are we looking for? The old one? But it's not here anymore.